Hindus throughout the country are observing the 8th day of the 10-day-long Bara Dasai festival, Maha Ashtami, today by worshipping goddess Durga Bhavani. Also in this edition of Kantipur News, we have updates about the dispute in NRNA and Israel-Hamas war. Good morning, I'm Prarambha Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. 8th day of Bara Dasai Maha Ashtami being observed today. Devotees reach temples to worship goddess Durga Bhavani since early morning. Dispute related to selection of new leadership leads to the split of the NRNA. New committee assumes office while disgruntled faction forms a parallel entity. Israeli tanks and other military equipment positioned around Gaza's border. Israeli ground offensive of the war-battered Palestinian enclave appears imminent. And Hong Kong take on the United Arab Emirates at the triangular T20 International Series, both teams aiming to secure their first win. An earthquake was felt earlier this morning with its epicenter in the surrounding areas of Khari in Thading. The head of the National Earthquake Monitoring and Research Center, Lokbijay Adhikari, said that an earthquake of 6.1 magnitude on the Richter scale with its epicenter in Khari Thading had been recorded at 7:39 a.m. this morning. A number of houses in the area have sustained damages, while hills in surrounding areas have sunken. Landslides have also been reported at several plots. Local resident Anjan Simkoda said that he heard a loud bang and dust rising into the air, which happened to be a landslide. Chairperson of Jaulamukhi Rural Municipality, Ramnath Danai, informed about the damages caused by the earthquake as well. Now, Hindus throughout the country are observing the 8th day of the 10-day-long Bara Dasai festival, as the Maha Ashtami festival is being performed by worshipping goddess Durga Bhavani today. On this day, people offer special worship to the goddesses Mahakali, Mahalakshmi and Mahasaraswati. This day of the Dasai festival is considered a special day when goddess Durga attained power. On the occasion, people perform religious rituals at the Dasai Ghars and armories and offer worship to goddesses at various shrines by offering sacrifices of different animals. The people also read the Durga Saptashati scriptures. Devotees throng various goddess shrines in the Kathmandu Valley from early morning today for offering worships and sacrificing goats and dogs. Similarly, people throng the various goddess temples throughout the country today to offer worships, sacrificing goats, dogs and roosters. A special Durga Puja worship and prayer ceremonies are held at the Dasai Ghars. Now, people also worship the weapons, vehicles and machines. People who do not sacrifice animals and offer sacrifices of various vegetables and fruits in place of animals. Also on this day, a special Kalaratri worship is held at midnight at the Dasai Ghar of Hanmandoka in the capital city. More than 700,000 people have left the Kathmandu Valley to observe the Dasai festival. The crowds had been witnessed in majority of the transit points leaving the valley since early morning, as around 150,000 people left Kathmandu yesterday. Traffic jam was witnessed from 6 a.m., which is usually unlikely on a Saturday morning. Traffic management was hectic in Koteshwar, Kalanki, Chabahil, Sadhubato, among other transit points leaving the capital. People come to Kathmandu searching for job opportunities and better education, return home annually to celebrate the festival. Some people prefer to visit different tourist destinations during the Dasai holidays, while others choose to return home and celebrate the festival with friends and family. Dasai is considered the festival of gatherings and celebrations. Most people gather and observe the festival with their family and relatives who they have not met since a long time. Nepalese from abroad and who live away from home return on the occasion of Dasai. Around 700,000 people have already left Kathmandu within a week. Meanwhile, police have predicted that around 1 million people will leave the Kathmandu Valley on the occasion of Dasai this year. In our Public Voice segment, we have asked in several provinces regarding their experience while traveling during the Dasai festival. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
बस नपाउने सीट नपाउने
बसमा आउँदा सजिलो सीट पायो
लामो दूरी यात्रा गर्ने मान्छेहरुलाई त अब बडो अलिकति बढी भाडा तिरेर भए पनि जाम त्यो त एक किसिमको ठगी धन्दा हो नि त हो त्यो त्यही किसिमको समस्याहरू अब भोग्नु परिरहेको छ।
अहिले खै सधैँ छ भने राम्रै छ।
3-4 दिन अगाडि नै बहिनीलाई भनेर सिट चाहिँ रिजर्भ गर्न लगाएको थिएँ र सिटमा बसेर आएँ।
खाना खाने ठाउँ अलि सफा यस्तो मेन्टेन थिएन अनि अलि भिड थियो अनि बाटो चाहिँ अब नेपालको बाटोको चाहिँ के कुरा गर्नु र सधैँ उस्तै नै हो।
हामीले यति भाडा किन भनेर सोद्धाखेरि अब पेट्रोलको भाउ बढेको छ भन्नुहुन्छ उहाँहरूले। अब यथार्थमा हामीलाई पनि सबै थाहा हुँदैन, हामीले त घर पुग्नु पाए हुन्थ्यो भने जस्तो हुन्छ।
1250 रुपियाँ अब यहाँको भाडा लाग्छ भने हामीले अहिले 3000 तिरेका छौँ।
चाडबाड बढेपछि चाहिँ अलि सिटहरू पाउने गाह्रो अनि भाडाहरू अलिकति दोब्बर हुने त्यस्तो चाहिँ हुन्छ।
मुगबाट आउनुपर्ने हात जोडेर हामीले लैजा भनेर आउनुपर्ने अवस्था पुग्यो।
बसको अवस्था पनि राम्रै लाग्यो।
बाटोले गर्दा चाहिँ अलि यात्रा गर्ने मान्छेहरूलाई नै गाह्रो भयो।
The Non-Resident Nepalese Association NRNA has announced a parallel committee amid dispute regarding the appointment of the new leadership. A new committee has been formed, which has been led by RK Sharma Group, which has rejected the working committee under the leadership of NRNA President Badri Kesi. The disgruntled group has been expressing resentment, saying the election for the leadership post from the 11th General Assembly of NRNA was rigged. The disgruntled group had formed a parallel committee under the leadership of RK Sharma. The newly formed working committee of NRNA has been administered the oath of office and secrecy by the election committee yesterday itself. 3 bodies of Nepali nationals that had been killed in Israel in the attack by Palestinian militants Hamas have arrived Kathmandu today. The bodies have been brought home on FJ-1210 aircraft of Fly Dubai. Out of the 4 bodies that had been identified by the Israeli government, 3 have been brought home by fulfilling legal requirements. The bodies have been brought home on FJ-1210 aircraft of Dubai. Bodies of Dipesh Raj Bista, Lokendra Singh Dhami and Narayan Prasad Nepane have arrived home in the first phase. Meanwhile, the body of Ashish Chaudhary is set to arrive later today. The embassy has said that it will take additional time to examine the bodies of the remaining 6 Nepali students, as DNA tests has to be conducted for the identification of some bodies as well. The authority has said that out of 140 applications received from Nepali nationals, only 7 have expressed desire to return home as of now. Preparations have been made to repatriate them on commercial flights within a few days. Meanwhile, whereabouts of Nepali student Bipin Joshi, who has been missing since the attack, is unknown. The embassy has said that search for Bipin is underway. It is now time for our segment Public Polls, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Polls.
The question is, why have discussions not been held on parliamentary resolution motion and proposals of public importance? Your options are A, unaware of its importance, B, government's disregard, and C, indifference by the speaker. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for the international news. Formations of Israeli tanks and other military equipment are positioned and preparing around Gaza's border in southern Israel as an Israeli ground offensive of the war-battered Palestinian enclave appears imminent. Israeli soldiers were preparing equipment, loading ammunition and stocking up on food and water outside Kibbutz Be'eri, which is located just a few kilometers from the border with the Gaza Strip. In the wake of the deadly surprise attacks launched by Hamas militants on the 7th of October, Israel has been mustering its forces for an anticipated ground operation. The latest escalation in the bitter decades-long conflict has resulted in the loss of more than 5,600 lives on both sides. The Palestinian Health Authority says 4,218 Palestinians have been killed in the recent fighting, with 4,137 fatalities in the Gaza Strip and 81 in the West Bank. The Israeli Ministry of Health has confirmed at least 1,400 people have lost their lives on the Israeli side during the current round of fighting. Brazil's foreign minister called for immediate action to resume negotiations towards a two-state solution for Israel and Palestinians yesterday. Speaking at a peace summit hosted by Egypt, Brazilian Foreign Minister Mauro Vieira said his country would not add fuel to the fire and would call for dialogue. Arab leaders at the Cairo summit yesterday condemned Israeli bombardment of Gaza as Europeans said civilians should be shielded, but with Israel and US officials absent, there was no agreement towards containing the violence. Egypt, which called the meeting and hosted it, said it had hoped participants would call for peace and resume efforts to resolve the decades-long Palestinian quest for statehood. But the meeting ended without leaders and foreign ministers agreeing a joint statement 2 weeks into the conflict that has killed thousands and visited a humanitarian catastrophe on the blockaded Gaza enclave of 2.3 million people. Diplomats attending the talks had not been optimistic of a breakthrough, with Israel preparing a ground invasion of Gaza aimed at wiping out the militant Palestinian group Hamas that rampaged through its towns on October 7, killing 1,400 people. A Russian missile strike on a postal distribution center in Ukraine's Kharkiv has created a massive hole in the roof, destroyed walls and much of the facility, killing 6 people and injuring 14. Mikhail Ostap, a Ukrainian police officer, said the strike happened late yesterday at 10:12 p.m. That the current postal center was also taxed twice. Police said the workers from the Nova Post Center did not have time to run to the shelter because the siren sounded a second before the impact. There was no immediate comment from Russia. Both sides deny targeting civilians in the war that Russia launched against its neighbor in February 2022. Pakistan's 3-time Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif returned home to Pakistan yesterday after 4 years of self-imposed exile in London to kickstart his party's campaign for next year's election. After landing in his hometown of Lahore, the 73-year-old veteran politician addressed thousands of supporters at a night rally, saying he just wanted to serve his nation and see it prosper. Sharif had not set foot in Pakistan since leaving for London in 2019 to receive medical treatment while serving a 14-year prison sentence for corruption. His convictions remain in force, but a court on Thursday barred authorities from arresting him until Tuesday, when he is to appear in court. While he cannot run for or hold public office because of his convictions, his legal team says he plans to appeal, and his party says he aims to become the Prime Minister for a 4th time. During the rally, Sharif condemned Israel's bombardment and siege of the Gaza Strip in retaliation for the Hamas attacks on southern Israel on the 7th of October, in which more than 1,000 people were killed and 210 hostages captured. The siege has left the enclave's 2.3 million people running out of food, water, medicines and fuel. The bombing has killed at least 4,385 Palestinians, Gaza's health ministry has said as well. Students in India's Chandigarh wanting to study abroad said they were worried after Canada suspended in-person operations at consulates in several Indian cities and warned of visa processing delays amid a diplomatic dispute over the murder of a Sikh separatist leader in British Columbia. Canada has withdrawn 41 diplomats after India last month asked Ottawa to reduce its diplomatic presence after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau cited what he said was credible evidence of a potential link between Indian agents and the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. India denies any connection to the shooting outside a Sikh temple in British Columbia in June. India dismissed as absurd Trudeau's suspicions that its agents were linked to the murder of Nijjar, 45 years old, a Canadian citizen whom New Delhi had labelled a terrorist. And now, before we wrap up, here's a look into the top stories one more time. 8th day of Baradasai Mahastami being observed today. Devotees reach temples to worship goddess Durga Bhavani since early morning. Dispute related to selection of new leadership leads to the split of the non-resident Nepali Association. New committee assumes office while disgruntled faction forms a parallel entity. Israeli tanks and other military equipment positioned around Gaza's border. Israeli ground offensive of the war-battered Palestinian enclave appears imminent. And Hong Kong take on the United Arab Emirates at the triangular T20 International Series, both teams aiming to secure their first win of the tournament. That is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin is at 6 p.m. Thank you for staying with us. Have a beautiful day ahead.